Today, I'm doing a simple experiment to show how paint creates color. Before we start, what do you think happens when we mix this color? Make a guess. This happens because pigments in paint absorb some colors of light and reflect others. Mixing pigments changes what light gets reflected, so the color changes. So, this experiment shows that paint colors come from how pigments absorb and reflect light. Isn't it simple and fun?
This is turmeric, and its yellow color comes from a natural pigment called curcumin. You are probably wondering why we are talking about curcumin and turmeric, right? So today, we're going to see how natural pigment like curcumin change color based on pH. So let's get started with the experiment. Curcumin is actually a pH indicator. That means its color changes depending on the environment, whether it is acidic or alkaline. In water, it stays yellow. When I add baking soda, which is alkaline, the molecular shape of curcumin changes shape. So, it absorbs light differently and turns orange-red. What happened if I add lemon? If I add lemon again, the mixture becomes acidic and the color turns back to yellow. This shows how molecular structure controls color. So yes, kahit pun ada chemistry, natural pigment like curcumin show color through real molecular shape.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you a really simple experiment on how to dye white fabric using food coloring. Now, let's get started.
Here, I am using warm water. Warm water gives molecules more energy so they can move more freely. Now, when I add the food coloring, the dye molecule dissolve and spread into the water. Then, by stirring, it helps the dye mix evenly, so the molecules are distributed through the solution. Now, I will immerse the fabric into the solution. When the fabric is immersed into the solution, the dye molecule move into fabric fiber by diffusion. Before I add the fabric, I have add vinegar because vinegar is acetic acid and lower the pH, helping the dye interact better with the fabric. Then we let the fabric soak for 10 to 15 minutes so the fabric can absorb the dye evenly. After 10 to 15 minutes later, we will rinsing the fabric with cold water to remove unbound dye, while the dye helped by the intermolecular force remain in the fabric. In conclusion, the dye stick to the fabric because the dye molecule move into the fabric through diffusion. As inside the fiber, the dye molecules are held in place by intermolecular force, especially hydrogen bonding between the dye and fabric. In acidic condition, from the vinegar, it helps strengthen the interaction, making the color more stable and less likely to wash away. Now we can see the difference of the fabric before and after immersed into the dye solution.
And this brings this experiment to a close. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helped you to understand the chemistry behind the fabric dyeing. Thank you.
the green color appears because of red and blue wavelengths from the sunlight, reflecting green wavelengths back into our eyes. A simple experiment allows students to observe how light passes the lid and how chlorophyll affected the green color of our eyes. Leaves are like tiny living canvases that work tirelessly to capture sunlight and transform it into energy. Behind their calming green color lies an important pigment called chlorophyll. This pigment is more than just a natural dye. It functions as a plant light-absorbing engine that makes photosynthesis possible.
Did you know when you boil purple cabbage, you can get a natural color changing indicator? And what happens when this purple solution meets lemon or baking soda? Let's find out with a quick experiment with me. For this experiment, I'm going to label each cup as cup A and cup B. Lemon juice will be placed in cup A, whereas baking soda will be placed in cup B. This happens because natural pigment in purple cabbage contains anthocyanin. Alkaline environment removes more hydrogen and changes it into green or blue color, while acidic environment adds more hydrogen so that it becomes pink color.
That's all from me. I hope you learned something by this experiment. Bye!